Hello, I am live. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, here on Growing Gratitude. This Sunday. Welcome back, you guys. So, here I am in my office. Yep, at my desk once again. Once again. We'll talk about it. All right. Welcome to Growing Gratitude. I'm Becca Lori Hector. I am your host of Growing Gratitude. Every week on Sundays at 10 a.m., I do my darndest to be here live. And if not, I throw up a recorded video for you. But here on Growing Gratitude, we talk about the things that are challenging about being an autistic adult alive right now and how we motivate ourselves through it, how we find the glimmers, how we keep going, right, in the face of some of these challenges, right? And also what keeps us enjoy, what makes us happy. We'll talk about some of those things too. But welcome to Growing Gratitude, and let's talk about it. I'm in my office. I feel like for the last month and a half, I have love the Sunday hair is my favorite part of doing Growing Gratitude on Sundays. Hey Renat. So, I've been, oh, we'll be outside. It'll be beautiful. We'll be back to when I was living in Colorado. Hey, Morgan, when I was living in Colorado and I did Growing Gratitude outside all the time on my porch. And we used to just chitty chat and I'd have a cup of coffee and things like that. Right. So that was the whole plan. Maine says, nay, nay, Becca, nay, nay. You will not be doing Growing Gratitude outside in April. You will be inside. I swear that I think that Growing Gratitude is now cursed, you guys. So we need to break the curse of Growing Gratitude. I don't understand it. We've had some really beautiful days in the last week here in Maine. Does it happen on Sunday at 10 a.m. for us? No, it's pouring, raining outside. I can't go sit out there. Once again, my yard is mud. Once again, we are inside for Growing Gratitude. And so I'm just sitting here at my desk, just thinking about this giant curse. Because last week, if you joined for last week, I was having what I felt was a very deep conversation or thought about was a deeper conversation about what's kind of going on in the political climate right now. And all of a sudden last week, poof, the power went off just as I was finishing a sentence on Growing Gratitude. Good morning, Nancy. And I was really peeved, but also well, if that happens, right? Not only as someone who really loves the rules of the theater, but also as someone who really is learning to flow with life, right? It blipped, power went off. I could have gone a whole crazy and I could have started a new stream and tried to get you guys over there, but that just didn't feel like it was aligned with how I'm learning to do things and how I'm trying to teach you guys to do things, which is it happened. Okay, there's nothing I can do about it. It wasn't something within my control. I gave you guys something. You saw I lost my power. And that's really all that I can give right now. Right. And so that's what I did last week. If you caught it, hey, Bernard, if you caught it, I think that I talked about, I was talking about how really my big thing was that things were such a mess that all of the autism organizations have signed onto a singular document together, which I found to be, it floored me. And I wanted to talk about that last week. So go back and catch that if you want to catch that. I myself, though, I need to move on. We need to move forward. We need to figure out our way through, right? Because the only way out is through. And so no matter how bad of a time you're having, right, the only way to get out of that bad time is to get through that bad time to get to the good time. And that's what I've been sort of in my brain about this week. What can I do to get through the bad time? What's the smartest way through the bad time? Right? Because clearly we're in it. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than this. If you're watching internationally with me right now, if you're not in the United States and you're watching, we need you here. We love you. American Autistics are in desperate need of our global community right now. We could really use the support. All of the things that we know to be about our community are being thrown in our face as untruths, and that's not fair. You can't take fact and make it fiction. Fact is fact, and so we need to have louder voices with the fact, and that's where we are right now. And as I've been kind of putting it all together, all of the pieces, and doing that weird autistic thing where we lift ourselves above the scenario and look at the whole thing, right? And that's how we kind of predict, or I kind of predict where I think things are headed. When I lift back and look at this whole scenario, it just reminds me of a magician. And I want to share that with you, what I mean by that. Um, Magicians, one of the skills that they pick up as magicians to make magic, right, is something called misdirection. Misdirection, right, is looking over here at my busy hands while I'm doing something else over here that you can't see, right? And I think that, or I feel that what we're looking at is a magician and not a very good one, right? A magician who's hoping that if they make enough noise over here about these things that get people riled up and get their attentions, right? We can low key, quietly do more dangerous things over here while they're not looking. And it's working, right? Riled up the trans community, riled up the LGBT community, riled up the disability community, riled up the Black community, right? Did all that, right? And what I want to know is what's going on underneath that? What's going on behind that? Right. And what happened this week, we had a budget release, and it's a terrible budget cuts that are happening and all kinds of things. And I feel like that is the truth under there of what's really happening is the shifting of money. Right. And there's power in that. There's power in being in control of where the money shifts. And that's what I think this whole magician show is about. Right? I think it's a whole show. I think it has a lot of people involved in it, right? And I think they're doing an excellent job at misdirection. In the face of misdirection, what do? We stay aligned. Why? The hope of misdirection is that they pull you off path. The hope of people who misdirect you is that they get your attention away from the things that matter, right? And onto the big shiny things that right? So if that's the case, the best way to beat the misdirection is to stay aligned, to not let it pull you off course, to not let it take away your momentum, right? And if people are erasing us, we get louder. We don't disappear, right? We get louder, we get stronger, right? Because that's how you beat the misdirection, right? And so, what I want to say with today's growing gratitude is it's now our mission, my mission, for myself and for us in our community to keep us aligned, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in the emotions of everything that's happening out there. It's really easy to take things personally. And this is a life lesson. This isn't just a lesson in American politics, right? This is a life lesson. People with power and privilege do this kind of thing all the time, right? In order to keep their power and privilege, they infiltrate with misdirection, right? They infiltrate with misinformation or the lack thereof of information, right? That lack of transparency. So this is something that happens to us as autistics regularly out in the world. This is a big, macro view of what that looks like, but we've all been through this before. We've all been misdirected in our past, right? We've all let the magician take us for a ride one time or another, right? And what I want to say here is you don't have to do it now. Just because it's on a big scale doesn't mean you have to do it now, right? In fact, the way to really is the opposite. It's to dig into all the things you know to be true. Be vocal about them, create more, do more, right? Think more, be more autistic if that's possible, right? Because that's our way out. That's our way through, right? Is with is by beating the misdirection and staying aligned. So at the end of this whole tormented thing, however long it takes, you're still where you want to be. You're as close to doing what it is that you want to do anyway. What's happening for us right now is that the barriers or the challenges to reaching our goals just shifted. They've changed, right? They might have been smaller challenges before, or perhaps not such obvious challenges as they are right now, but it's still just challenges on your path to get where you want to go, right? It's a delay, perhaps, right? Or a holding pattern, perhaps, for many of us, right? It's a reminder to take care of self and all of the things close to you and not get caught up in the misdirection enough to drop all of your balls, Don't let them do it to you, right? This is where we win. This is how we find ourselves through, because riding that emotional roller coaster is not sustainable. We all know that, right? Taking those ups and going with them on it, and the downs and the ups and the downs, it is not sustainable for us. What is sustainable for us is to stay on path, to stick with our routines, to stay with the things that we know about ourselves, our triggers, our glimmers, right? And to stay aligned and on goal. And what might end up happening for us through this is that our goals get shifted a little, or they get delayed, or the path to those goals shifts and changes. But the goal shouldn't change, right? And you shouldn't let all of this misdirection pull you right off path, right? And so that's what I've spent really. I've had this week off, and it's been really hard because it didn't feel like a week off, right? I was off from my 9 to 5 regular full time job, right? But I am never off from being an advocate, right? You don't get days off from advocacy unless you have the wherewithal to do that. And this week was not a time to drop the advocacy ball. I had people reaching out to me with what they should do. What did I think was happening? What was the best course of action? Should they leave our country? Should they do something else? Should they try to hide their diagnoses? Should they, right? All of those things. And those fast gut checking, knee jerk reactions, right? That's the misdirection at work, right? That's it. That's what that is. It's trying to do its job, which is to pull you off course and to have you start worrying about other things instead of focusing on where you're at, because, right? That's where the destruction occurs. That's where you get pulled off. And once you're pulled off, right? Really easy for people to pluck you up and make you a useful tool to them, right? That's what we're looking at. So, what I want us to do kind of going forward is to try to recognize the misdirection when we see it, right? They are obvious moves with lots of warning. The point is to create this propaganda. The point is to create the misdirection. That's the whole point of these registries and the data collecting and all of it, right? It's misdirection. It's look over here because over here I'm doing something I probably shouldn't be doing, right? And so what we need to do is say, you know what, your misdirection doesn't work on me. I'm still me. This is still my life. I still have truths that I know to be true no matter what you say. And I'm not going to let your mistruths, your misdirection, your look at me's, right? Pull me away from the things that I've been working on or want to work on this hard, right? That's where we have strength. That's where our power lies, right? It's in that digging in stubbornness that autistics have, that we know the truth to be true no matter what you say to us. You're not going to get us with group think, right? We don't fall for it. This is group think, ladies and gentlemen. The misdirection is group think, right? That's why it doesn't sit well with us. This whole situation touches every justice sensitivity cell in my body, right? But I'm not going to let it beat me, because I have things I want to do on this planet with the time that I have left. And I've had plenty of years stolen from people, right? They've been stolen from me by lots of people. And a lot of it I let happen, right? Not letting it happen anymore. And I don't want you to let it happen anymore. That's where growing gratitude is coming from today. Okay. I don't want you to get pulled off course. So we're not going to do that. That's what growing gratitude is going to be for in the face of all of this. We are going to make growing gratitude about being grounded in our truths, right? Grounded in them. Whatever your personal truths are, what your community's truths are, you're going to ground yourself in those truths. And that's what we're going to do here every Sunday going forward. We are going to remind ourselves that no matter what chaos is happening out in the outside world, that is the neuromajority's chaos. We did not create it, and we don't have to participate in it. Okay. What we do need to do is focus on self, remember our priorities, remember our values and our ethics, those things that we've decided through the course, right? We took self defined living together, a lot of us. When you go through the course, you pick out your priorities and you put them in order. You pick up your mantras, you pick up all these important pieces, and those things right now are your grounding tools, right? Go look at them. If you took the course a really long time ago, I don't care. Go back to those tools, remember them, redo them if you need to, reground yourself in your priorities and your values and your value, right? Remember that lesson from the course, right? You have to know your value and your values, right? So, what do you value? What do you prioritize, right? And how much value do you have? If you do not value yourself, right, above all else, no one else will value you. And we get caught up then, right? So those are a few of my reminders today, a few of the things that we talk about in the course, but also just a reminder that those things, those are our grounding tools. Those very basic things, the input output, knowing our value and values, right? Understanding all of those pieces and prioritizing those pieces, that is where you ground yourself. So go back, find those old tools. If you haven't taken the course yet, go take it, right? I've got a surprise little discount coming out that I'll share with you right now. If you're watching live stream, you get it a day early. It's my birthday tomorrow. So for my birthday, as you know, I love to spread and share joy. And I am giving out my gifts for my birthday, I guess I want to say. I'm doing a 49, because that's when I turn tomorrow, 49, a 49% discount on the course right now. That's basically half off the course right now in the store for the next 24 hours. Well, 48 if you are. Thank you, Bernard. If you are watching this on the 27th right now, as you're here with me on Sunday, the discount is already in there, so you can use it, but it will end on midnight at 4:28 at the end of my birthday. So it's a one-day sale, 50% off the course, basically 49%. So please pass it along. I will be putting it out there. Thank you, Nancy Morgan Burnett. I will be putting it the sale out there for the public tomorrow morning, but for you and for me and for gratitude's sake, we are, or I'll be putting it out this afternoon, I guess. We are really going to pass out all of the information about gratitude. I want everyone to know about the things that we talk about here. I don't know how else to share it. I can't figure out a way that doesn't require finances that I don't have other than this YouTube, because it's free to me and it's free to you. And so if we meet here on YouTube, we get to talk about all this stuff. And if you like all this stuff, you get to all my other tools. So I'm gonna stick it out here on YouTube. This is where we're gonna do our thing, because it's accessible to all of us. If you want to support the YouTube channel, which I truly appreciate, it helps me a lot. Please head over to the Patreon page and go ahead and sign up for the Gratitude Growers level. It's a simple level. You don't have to do much. It's $3. It supports the YouTube channel, supports our live stream, so that I can keep doing the live stream every week, every Sunday. But I do think that's the most, this is the easiest way for us to stay in touch about these things. So I hope that our conversation today has sort of given you a new perspective on everything that's going on. Because what I'm not liking, what I'm seeing, is that a lot of autistics are having knee-jerk emotional reactions out there, which it's hard not to feel those, by the way. And if you do feel them, let it process, because I get like an instant feeling, right? And I need to process through that before I can move forward. But I'm seeing a lot of return to the very visceral and angry posts that we used to see in the autism community. And that's that knee-jerk reaction. And I don't want to see us pulled back, right? I don't want us to get so back to that phase where we are infighting instead of fighting out, right? Which is what matters. So tell people we're meeting here on Sundays. We are grounding ourselves in our truths. We are reminding ourselves of our value and values. We are taking control of our input and output, all of those things. And let them know that we can meet here to talk about it. And if they're struggling with it, they don't have to be alone. Because it is hard out there, but it's really important for us to not, it's really easy for autistic folks to get emotionally dysregulated and physically dysregulated. And these are the kinds of things that set us off. So rather than choosing dysregulation, we have to find another path through. And I think this is the path through. It's a grounded, solid state, staying in alignment, staying on goal. Every time life gets challenging, these things are always useful, right? And just because this is a big mega out of your hands challenge doesn't mean that you don't get to respond in a very you way. And I want you to remember that in this time. Yeah. So going forward, we're going to be grounding ourselves in our truths here every Sunday, to make sure that we don't get picked up by the misdirection, that we don't get our lives pulled out of alignment, right, by the misdirection. And with that, you guys, I am happy to say we have made it through Growing Gratitude for this week. I'm here, you're here. Tomorrow's my birthday. We're going to have a sale. Next Sunday, I'll be back. I won't be any older or any different because that's the way that it all works. But I will have a birthday, and then we'll go on and we'll keep talking all the rest of summer and spring about all of the things that keep us grounded and settled and how we stay in alignment when things get tough out there. This is my reminder to you guys as I close up Growing Gratitude for the week. And that is always, 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 right? We are taking care of our meat suit. We are protecting our headspace, right? And we are always keeping our eyes, ears, nose, mouths, everything, hands, eyes, hearts, everything open for all of the glimmers out there, the big ones and the little ones, right? So if today, this little moment, this little gathering together where we grounded ourselves is a glimmer for you, that counts. It's a glimmer for me. I love spending the time with you guys. I love sitting here for 20, 15 minutes a day on a Sunday, once a week, just connecting with you guys about what's going on and what really matters. And then you get to see that I am really, truly modeling for you the things that I believe work. And that's how I'm still standing. And I hope you'll do the same. Until next week, find those glimmers. They're really little these days, but when you find them, pick them up. It was a great cup of ice cream. You had a fantastic little walk. All of those count. All of that counts, especially right now. And with that, I say, get out there. I'll see you on the interwebs, out and about. Oh, there's Schmidt. Oh, wrong way. There's Schmidt. Hello, Mr. Schmidt. Good night, Mr. Schmidt. And I will see you guys next Sunday right here at 10 a.m. with the next Growing Gratitude, where we will ground ourselves in our truths and, of course, talk about the things that challenge and motivate us as autistic adults. See you next week, you guys. Bye.